There's something wonderful about Super Smash Bros. Whoever's idea it was to put the best that Nintendo has to offer in a fighting game together deserves a big medal. Since 1999, it's been a huge commercial success and has spanned 3, soon to be 4, games. With each successive game, the series gets larger and larger, and hell, who knows what Super Smash Bros. 4 will bring, and how many characters will be in it. But for now, I'm looking at the current games and my favourite characters within them. The rules for this list are very simple. Because it's my favourite characters in the franchise, I'm not looking at any of the tier list bullcrap, and it's more based on whether or not I like playing as the character. Remember, this list is very personal, and it's almost guaranteed not to be your opinion, so just deal with it and move on. I'll start with my least favourite and work my way up to my all-time favourite character within the series. Strap yourself in, this is top 40 favourite Super Smash Bros. Characters.
Pichu!
Virtually all the characters in the series have negatives to balance out the positives, which makes sense really. You need to make sure that no character is too overpowered, and we'll see a lot of this throughout the list. You'll see good things and bad things. But the worst character in the series is one that has a gigantic weakness: Pichu. Pichu is a smaller, lighter and weaker version of Pikachu, with one fatal flaw. Its power comes from its electrical attacks rather than its physical attacks, but unfortunately, any electric attack it uses actually does damage to itself. While this may be a clever reference to the third Pokemon movie, where one faints from electricity overuse, it still makes fighting as one unnecessarily difficult. Pichu is also the lightest character in Melee, which means if you're hit by one half-decent smash attack, you can kiss your ass goodbye before it disappears off the fucking screen. So honestly, Pichu's not much of a powerhouse. It gets tossed around the place like a ragdoll filled with helium, and when it does attack, it ends up doing more damage to itself than the opponent. Thankfully, Pichu is the only truly terrible character in the series, meaning it only gets better from here. The Ice Climbers are apparently amazing in every conceivable way. There's this thing called chain grabbing, where you continuously grab your opponent and rack up huge combos, and the Ice Climbers are one of the best characters for this. Pros love it, and it makes Ice Climbers one of the more desirable characters in the game. However, because I have this wonderful thing called a life, I don't spend all my time drooling over chain grabbing, and instead I play Ice Climbers as is, and unfortunately, they're not that great. For a start, while the idea of having two characters to fight at the same time may seem like a really good idea, it just means that there's two characters that you have to worry about. The Ice Climbers moveset is heavily focused on using both Popo and Nana, with the latter being controlled by a CPU. This means that if Nana is KO'd, a lot of your moves, most notably your up B third jump, are heavily affected. I like the concept, but it just doesn't have enough benefits to counteract the drawbacks. Even so, the Ice Climbers don't really have a strong trait. They're not that strong or agile, and their final smash and brawl is only ever useful on very small stages. So if you're a pro smasher and can destroy people with your intricate chain grabbing game, good for you. But because I'm a human being, I can't really use the Ice Climbers to any great effect. Yeah! Fuck you! Oh! Fuck, alright, fine. Playing as Ganondorf is like being in charge of a large tank. You've got so much power at your disposal that you can deal with almost anything by simply hitting it really, really hard. Ganondorf actually has some of the strongest non-final smash attacks in the game, and well, they wreck shit up like nothing else. However, with great power comes speed that a snail would be embarrassed of, and mobility that will be very familiar to anybody who's been in charge of a really big boat. In the simplest of terms, Ganondorf is a very powerful sitting duck, and if you come up against a human player who isn't comatose, you're going to run into a lot of difficulties. Personally, I have quite a lot of fun launching level 1 CPUs across the stage, but I really struggle in any fight against anyone even remotely good. His final smash ain't bad though.
Rabbid? Isn't Jigglypuff like a joke character or something? Why would it be above someone as awesome as Ganondorf?
Well, firstly, my fucking list. If you want to bitch about the placement of something on one of my lists, make your own goddamn video. Don't moan at me about what should have been there. It's my own opinion on the subject, and if you don't like it, feel free to express your own in the comments below. Secondly, Jigglypuff actually had quite a lot of thought put into it. Yes, Jigglypuff is very weak, very easy to KO, and has one of the worst final smashes in Brawl, but there are still some positives to find when playing as it. Firstly, it has so many jumps that recovery is virtually a given for most situations, but more importantly, it's got one of the best air games of all the characters in both Melee and Brawl, so you can line up some stupid combos. And then there's Rest, and whilst difficult to time, it can be devastating if you can pull it off. Jigglypuff is a weird one for me really. Personally, I can't quite get a hang of that air game, and I've only ever used Rest properly about half a dozen times. But the biggest hindrance for me is just how easy Jigglypuff is to KO. And if a powerful character makes contact with a smash attack, you won't stand a chance. When I was trying to finish off some challenges, more specifically the 1000 KOs challenge, I would use a combination of powerful characters and just destroy a whole load of Jigglypuffs. Seriously, they don't last long at all. I never really found a use for Zelda. Her physical attacks are pitiful, she's slow, and she's got an annoying recovery move that I could never quite get the hang of. She's got some interesting magic attacks, and I love camping and spamming Din's fire, but she's honestly a character I've never liked using. But when you press down B, holy shit, this is amazing. You could be spending your time spamming magic, but how about being a speedy ninja with a chain and needles? Yeah, much better idea. Sheik is the complete opposite to Zelda in more than one way, and she's also the side of the duo which I use most often. She moves fast, attacks fast, and just kind of wrecks shit up in a way that Zelda can't even hope to match. But unfortunately, because both Zelda and Sheik are the same character, one cancels out the other really, so overall, the pair make a slightly below average character. You have the slow, lethargic, and yet admittedly hot Zelda, and the swift, mobile Sheik in the same package. Maybe you get more out of the two than I do, but just, no, not for me. Like Ganondorf, Bowser is a supreme powerhouse that can launch pretty much anything off the screen. The difference though is that Bowser is a little bit faster and it has a couple more moves that I just love using. The amount of times I've been nearly KO'd and then Bowser bombed my enemies off the stage is nearly endless, and then there's the incredibly addictive suicide move in Brawl. But like Ganondorf, he's slow as all hell. Granted, you can start running and zoom about a bit like a cart, but he'll still be left stranded by nearly every other character in the series. He also lacks any proper combos to go with the power, so it means you're mostly relying on those big hitting smash attacks. And while his final smash is very, very cool, it still leaves you out in the open, and on smaller stages you'll struggle to get about and you may even fall off the edge altogether. You're still technically invulnerable, but opponents can still cause damage to you. I don't like that. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, King Dedede is kinda like Bowser and Ganondorf. Slow, powerful, blah blah, the crap I said before. But for me, King Dedede has a lot more personality than either of the previous mentioned characters. He's stupid, like really, really stupid, and it shows in how he plays. There's just something incredibly satisfying about stumbling towards someone and belly flopping on them. Even without that, it's hard to ignore his final smash, which is, well,
you can have my big gay dance.
He's also one of the more entertaining characters during Subspace Emissary. I mean, you could try and use him in one of the levels and realise that, like most of the other heavy characters in the game, you're going to really struggle to platform at all. But the cutscenes with King Dedede in them are just damn hilarious. He's got one of the best personalities in the game, and when you've got the likes of Mario and Link, who really lack any emotion rather than, well, rage, I guess, it's refreshing. Oh, if only he played better.
You're too slow! Come on, step it up!
Sonic is exactly what you'd expect him to be. He's fast, as in ludicrously fast. If you play Special Brawl and pick fast and choose Sonic, it's the most ridiculous spectacle in the world. It'll even KO you on Bridge of Eldin if you're not careful. So yeah, shock of the century, Sonic's really fucking fast. But that's kind of it really. I think of him as like a scout from Team Fortress 2 if he didn't have a gun. He's stupidly fast, but his only real positives come from running in, doing small amounts of damage, and then running away. Because it's not like anyone's going to catch you at that speed. I never really found that Sonic had any sort of big KO moves, and so I would struggle to finish off an opponent who was at a high damage percentage. Admittedly, I have a lot of fun just darting all over the place and covering huge distances in just a couple of seconds, but Sonic hasn't quite got the balance for me. They come later.
Penguin!